Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and in talking about this episode, episode 28, season 2, Attack on Titan, I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like a lamb lost in the woods watching this shit. Like we have some new characters introduced. I thought we were going to follow on largely with Connie's town and whatever the hell's going on with it, as one of my friends called it, the Chicken Titan, which may or may not, as we find out at the end of that scene, be his mother, Connie's mommy, I guess having been somehow turned into a Titan. That's the only thing I can assume. And because of his orders and because of what the mission statement is, the family must have got out of town. Everyone must have got out of town. The place is in shambles and buildings are completely and utterly destroyed. There are horses still in the stalls and we don't know how people could have gotten out of this fucking town. But the place is a ghost town. They must have escaped somewhere. Right, yeah. Mm-hmm. And so here, when everyone's on their way the fuck out of there, we hear this thing grunting, welcome home, and he's like terrified. They zoom in on his wide-eyed, shocked expression, and he's like, dude, did you hear that? I think, and he's not capable of like getting it out, of saying what the hell he just heard. This is pretty big doings, I would think. Stick around, see what that thing's fucking talking, see if it's a family member somehow, by some stretch of the imagination. I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? How could that be possible? Is there some roving maniac with some sort of serum akin to what we're led to believe is going on with Eren's father, going in and trying to turn people into Titans somehow? Is that something that's actually a thing? Well, I don't fucking know. I guess we're not going to find out because we fucking left the damn town. Leave this friggin' half-dead Titan, laying in its little comfy chair that they made out of his house, So we'd get no answer there. And then we call over to these two characters, and I'm assuming there's got to be a reason why, another thing I find interesting is so far every episode we've had to deal with flashbacks of some of these characters. Sasha, previous episode, I don't remember what it was in the first episode, but this one, yet again, with these two characters, I believe they said their names were Krista and Ymir. I know the one is Ymir, but I think the blonde is Krista. And as we find by the end of this episode, well, they're looking for this fucking bitch. Apparently, there's some, that finally Hanji answers to the speculation, the hypothesis that Armin put forth, that in fact the walls surrounding their protected lands are constructed out of hardened Titan skin. This is mind-blowing to me, the viewer. This is mind-blowing to them. They don't quite know how that happened, how it can happen. They use this hardening ability and the skin stays for a prolonged amount of time, I'm guessing, hundreds of years, even if the Titan itself is then destroyed, even if it is disintegrated. And so, well, what the hell does that mean now? How did they manage to get a whole crap ton of Titans to just stand up in a line and harden themselves and become walls? That, like, were the Titans maybe perchance protectors of humanity? Could that be what the OP is alluding to when it shows all these giant dinosaurs and whales and all these monstrous creatures? Could it be implying that as sort of the evolutionary chain of events in nature and humanity and all this stuff, maybe the Titans were humanity's protectors once a long time ago? I don't know. That seems completely defying all of my imagination and rationality. It doesn't make any lick of sense to me how that could be possible either. So we got Titans being manifested by somebody's ill-gotten doings, I'm assuming. We have these characters, and for whatever reason, the Protectorate sort of religious fanatics, represented by this guy Nick, as we've seen since episode 1 of season 2, or I should say going back to episode 26, he's been very quiet. He will not cop to anything. Hanji is trying to bust his nuts to find something out. Levi wants to, put a bullet in his head. This guy's not saying shit. And what it all turns out to be is at least they've brought him to a place where he can now see what's happening, what the poor effects is occurring for the humanity that are displaced, they lose their homes, they lose their families because of the Titans run amok and all this kind of shit. but he still will not open his fucking mouth. He's like, this is more than one man can actually allow for the truth. This is more than I myself can cop to anything, can reveal anything, except for the fact that I was appointed specifically to keep an eye on somebody, or working in tandem with somebody keeping an eye on somebody. And of course, Sasha comes running in right then and there. She finally caught up with them, has orders or whatever it is. And like, it's insane to me that, well, okay, that's why we were introduced to Ymir and Krista earlier, if that is in fact her name. They're having a little heart to heart. Krista's wondering why it is that Ymir is tagging along and what are her interests. And she says, oh, it's just, I'm following my own interests, maybe a little bit inspired by your family. And then, I like you, I love you and everything like that. But obviously there's a hell of a lot fucking more going on. She's trying to keep an eye on this Krista bitch. Why? Is she a Titan? Can she become one? Is she like an Eren sort of situation? Is she an Annie Leonhardt situation where she can turn into one? What exactly is it that they have that is so fascinating about her, that gives them such an interest in her? Of course, I don't fucking know, because they don't fucking tell you shit. But like, of course, we have, Eren basically being given the challenge now that they figured this out, Hanji and Armin's speculations have been answered and seem to have been proven true, that the walls are in fact made out of hardened Titan skin. Well, is there some way we can use Eren to that effect? If he can become a Titan, maybe he can harden himself and patch the holes in the walls that surround their protected lands. And he's a little bit reserved, and I like how Levi just snaps to him. He's like, dude, it doesn't fucking matter what you think. You're going to do this one way or the other. You're going to try. Opinion, fuck it, out the window. We need it. You're going to do it. That's it. And so of course, that is what the next penultimate move seems to be. But the problem is, we have all these little teams that we've been following the last couple of episodes. They are trying to find the breach in the walls. They ain't finding shit. They completely, from two different directions, east and west, they run smack dab right back into each other again, and they haven't found Dick. I mean, they're asking, could we have somehow missed it? It is the cover of darkness. It is nighttime. We're moving around freely because the Titans cannot and all this shit, and they have nothing but their dick in their hands. They have found nothing. So they find the ruins of this castle, and they're going to hole up there overnight or whatever. And it just happens to coincide with Sasha's bringing in those orders, and the group with Eren, Armin, Mikasa, everything like that, Levi, Hanji, this priest Nick. They're all going to go their separate ways, and they have their own missions now. But the group that is going to follow up to these castle ruins, little do they know, and that includes, by the way, Eren and Mikasa and such. Little could they even conceive the hell that is now unfolding there. We see the Beast Titan just once again loitering around. He decides to make like King Kong up the Empire State Building and climb up one of the walls, one of the protectorate walls. And as they're talking through this episode about, well, we can't find any breaches in the walls. We don't know how the Titans got in. We got to find it. We got to pinpoint it. We got to figure out some way of patching it. I'm sitting there and I'm looking at this motherfucker climbing up this wall, and I'm like, dude, how do we know, for the ones that breached, air quotes, the walls, how do we know this motherfucker didn't come up and grab these smaller Titans and like sort of just whoof, hoist them over the wall? There ain't no hole to be patched. He's just throwing them over the wall to wreak havoc. Just, maybe he's like sadistic. Maybe, the way he was taking apart that Meek guy's, gear and everything, and looking at it and being fascinated by it. He seems like he's not all there as like in human capacity, but he still has a cognizance about himself. So maybe he's like, oh, these puny little humans, they are my playthings. Let's throw some Titans in and fake them out, make them think, oh crap, there's a hole in the wall somewhere. Ain't no hole in the wall, And as I say, coinciding with this, and everyone is at the top of the tower in that particular, castle ruin region. And they're seeing that this guy's just walking around outside. But then they realize, to their utter horror, they are now backed into a corner. even though it looks like by the PV for the next episode, they're going to be wreaking havoc and they're going to be going out and killing Titans, left, right, and center. I don't know if that's going to be effectual with how many Titans we saw that are now clamoring on this position. They couldn't be in the worst position possible, surrounded by Titans, nowhere to run, and all this shit. It doesn't matter how many of them start fighting. They're going to have to be like Levi's skill, I guess, skill level there. And I just don't know. Most of these characters, I don't know what they're capable of. I don't think they hold much of a prayer, unless, of course, Eren and Mikasa and that crew that is heading toward them get there in time to help out or something, And I half wonder with the way this show is, we didn't really get too much bloody, gory death shit going on in this episode. I almost have to wonder if they're going to get there from afar and they're going to see hell being wrought with the Titans going up against everyone in the castle ruins who are trapped, and they're just going to sit back and be like, you know what, we got to patch that hole. We got to find that hole and patch that hole, and they're fucked. They're all fucked. Let's watch a little bit and see, just make sure, yeah, they're all dying. Let's go. We're not going to help them. That could be exactly the way it plays out. I don't know. But, like, this episode, much, much more just raised more fucking questions. I like that at least we got the little kick in the bud reminder from Eren. He pulls out his little key, and then it's Daddy's basement. Whatever's hiding in Daddy's basement, I've got to find out. That holds the key. No, Eren, you're holding the key to the basement, and we're hoping that is a key to a wider can of worms that you will probably thusly open. If you can ever fucking get there. I stuck with you through the whole first season of this show. You still haven't gotten back to your daddy's basement. So let's get there at some point. Book a flight, just don't go United. So, like, again, interesting episode. Interesting that the whole aspect with Connie did not do anything. We just wrapped that up and sent it packing. Raised questions. Is this his mother, a family member? What the fuck? Well, who cares? We're going. We're leaving. I'm not going to look into it any further. It's just one of those hints that hopefully will. The other leg will drop at some point in the future as to how that happened, what happened, and all this shit. Anyone, leaving that town believing anyone survived. I mean, there's no remnants. There's no dead bodies lying around, as they said. But the state of that town and the horses all still being in the stalls untouched and like just nothing, and then buildings torn apart. Maybe people got out of there. Maybe it was Titan fighting amongst Titan. We do see in the PV, it looks like a couple of Titans are getting a little hands-on with each other, pushing each other out of the way as they're probably attacking the castle ruins. So maybe, I'm wondering, I feel like everything is central to this Beast Titan. Whenever he shows up, all this fucked up shit has been going on. All these things that are going against expectations and preconceptions. It all seems surrounding his appearance. So is this a human who's turning himself into a Titan and fucking around with other people? Is it kind of like, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type of thing where he's still cognizant as a beast Titan and he's just having fun fucking around and he doesn't really hold the concept of how wide the gamut is of what he's doing, of how ill he's affecting everything, all of his surroundings and the Titans and whatever like that. But as I say, we had Armin putting forth that idea. Props to Armin, answering very much to Hanji's actually scientifically figuring it out. These walls are Titan skin. I don't know how that fucking works. I hope we're gonna figure that out. Nick ain't talking. Nick ain't saying shit. I almost half expected Levi to actually finally put a bullet in his head by that point. But there's Splitsville. Sasha comes in. She's got the orders. We got to go find the other crews that haven't found shit as far as a hole in the wall. And, I almost made like a joke while I was watching this episode. I'm like, yeah, for all this talk about trying to find a hole in the wall, they're not finding it, but like I'm feeling like this whole episode is one big plot hole because lots of questions, lots of what the fuckery, not one single answer yet. And so I'm highly anticipating the next one. I'm starting to suspect, however, with the limited run of episodes for this season, 12 in total, I believe, I'm starting to really fear that we're really not going to get anywhere. I hope that's not the case. I hope we have some revelations to come, some answers to come that will probably propel and prolong even more questions. But I just want the satisfaction of having some inkling of what the fuck is going on. You would think with that rationalizing it and coming to that conclusion that, yes, Armin's hypothesis was right. This is Titan skin that makes up these walls. You would think with that success, it would answer to my own satisfaction that, oh, wow, we figured something out. No. That was something we figured out that was just like, what? What the fuck are you saying? How? How is this possible? And so everything is left still wide open. There's no answers. I'm wondering what's up with this Krista bitch and why Ymir is watching her. Is she working in tandem with this Nick guy and his whole religious, Titan Wall movement, protectorate? I don't know. So many more fucking questions than answers. But I guess we'll see. Hopefully time will tell. Love to hear from you guys what you thought of this episode, if you were as just brazen with the what the fuckery as I was, and you're still anticipating what's to come. So yeah, love it or hate it, anything goes in the comments below. That'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.